Just back from Thanksgiving work period in our state of Iowa. Congress was not in session last week. We're back in session at least for 2 weeks, and I think for 3 weeks before we adjourn for Christmas. And when that happens, this Congress will have ended, and a brand new Congress starting on January the 5th next year. I welcome you once again to Ask Chuck webcast. I enjoy answering your questions this way, and I'll go immediately to the questions. And the first question comes from Jerry in Washington, Iowa, emails this question. Do you think a constitutional amendment could be written so that Congress can pass no laws that apply differently to Congress than it does to the rest of the country? Quite frankly, we could pass such a constitutional amendment. I don't think that Congress will take up such an amendment because I think I made a case in 1995 that Congress had exempted itself from about 12 laws that applied to the rest of the country, and I thought that that was a bad situation for having two sets of laws in our country, one for Capitol Hill applying to Congress, and then everybody else in the country would have other laws. So in 1995, I got the Congressional Accountability Law passed that would eliminate that differential, so that now your Senator Chuck Grassley or any other member of Congress, and we all employ people, even though the taxpayers pay their salary, we still hire and fire. So in a sense, we're an employer, and all of those laws that Congress had exempted themselves from prior to 1995, we have to abide by as an employer for our staff. So I think that we have set pretty clear record. And then I followed on in the health care reform bill of last year. Even though I voted against the bill, I did get amendments adopted so that the health care law would apply to members of Congress as well. So I think maybe the need for such a constitutional amendment would be preempted now with finally Congress, when it passes a new law, applying it to the members of Congress as well as to the rest of the country. The next question comes from his Facebook, and Steve in Runnels, Iowa asks, quote, what happens when the debt bubble pops, end of quote. Well, the United States would be in bankruptcy. Right now, obviously, we're headed in that road with the tripling of the national debt starting with the first budget of 2009. But I hope that with the new members of Congress from the grassroots of America sending a message, as they did through the last election, that they expect a little more fiscal conservatism and fiscal responsibility on the part of Congress, we're going to be able to preempt our situation so we don't continue down the road of tripling the national debt. However, in the last 2 years, we've gone from a 50-year average of the national debt being about 35% of gross national product to some 60% at this point. So we're still not in as good of a position as we've been for 50 years and a worsening situation, but I think if we get on top of it early next year, then we'll be able to do that. And there's some indication Congress is willing to head in that direction, as there is talk already by the President of the United States this very day, saying that salaries ought to be frozen for federal employees, as just one example. And then the new members of Congress coming in on January 5th will be bringing that message from the grassroots that they received during the campaign of last year. So I thank Jerry and Steve for your questions. I invite questions from other people next week. We'll do another webcast next week. This week, at least one thing that's going on the floor of the Senate will be the food safety bill. But there'll be other issues coming up as well, some budget issues, and obviously we've got to tackle a great big tax issue before the end of the year. Thank you very much for participating.